Live now.
There we go. Now we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another breakfast and blockchain. And depending on your time zone, this might be brunch or apparently brisket is actually a type of food. So I really shouldn't refer to that as being like a particular meal. So maybe buffet and blockchain, because we want to be not exclusionary to any particular time zones where this is not.
This is my nighttime coffee. So it's 8 p.m. over here.
Oh, right on. We would need an alliteration with the letter B. So I don't know what. Yeah, no, we could do. We could really go wacky in bongs and blockchain. That's universal.
That'll require probably some imagery that'll get you banned on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, it's legal in my country. Is it legal on YouTube? Is it illegal on YouTube? Cannabis. I mean, you could do hookah. I mean, hookah.
Anyone smoke a bong on YouTube? Maybe just the Elon Musk joint on Joe Rogan. But
I never got banned.
It's true.
We're not Joe Rogan or Elon Musk, so we don't have quite the same social pull to have the staying power of that. Anyway, welcome everybody. So it's another weekly live stream and team from Helios, and we've got Hernan from EOSTARTER here to talk about EOSTARTER, and he's got a Pomelo pitch that's up round 2. He had great success in the first Pomelo season and back at it for another season. So we want to get into that. A lot of things going on in EOS, that's for darn sure. There's all sorts of crazy, awesome memes going around. Superman returns, except it's EOS. And the ETP came out, and ENF has announced a partnership with OCI, which is awesome. Like, there's a lot of great news coming out. But Hernan, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. I've watched a lot of blockchain breakfast and blockchain sessions, and I love the format. So I really want to join. So any time you guys want to have me over, I'm happy to join.
Right on.
So your Pomelo pitch is up now, Hernan?
Yes, it's up. It's approved. And it's generating some donations. 35 contributors so far.
Wow, that's a good start.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good start. We understood early on that being an early bird in this kind of things is important, so that you get visibility kind of right away. So we were pretty fast to put that up. And also I think I'm working on 2 kind of projects, right? So one is EOSTARTER, the token sale contract that we're moving forward, and the other one is also trying to being one of the good projects in Pomelo, because as you know, Daniel Keys mentioned, it's not only the great funding platform for public goods on EOS, it's also kind of a reputation system, right? So for example, it's very important for me to, before asking for more donations from the community, going through how the funds were used and how did we use them? Where did it get us?
Yeah, important questions. I know that the ENF are this time round starting to kind of vet where the funding's going and whether the teams actually, keep their promise and deliver. I was thinking as well, what would be really quite nice is to have a directory of all the public good services that have come out of Pomelo where people can use. Because there's so much information. There'll be quite a large code base as well. So that'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot code focused, but it's also a lot of content focused. So there are a lot of content creators popping up and offering their, doing videos and promotions and newsletters and articles, and I'm supporting that as well. Bywire News, and there's the new one for Veronica is called EOS Vision, right? She's proposing a weekly newsletter for EOS interested and stuff. So a lot of things, happening. People are really, starting to look at Pomelo because of the success of the first season. It's kind of, it's very clear now that it's a very ROI positive to start creating, contributing to EOS as an open system.
So EOSTARTER, for those that aren't necessarily familiar with the project, what can you talk about it?
Sure. Thanks, Robert. We also we sometimes we've drilled it so hard that we sometimes forget that maybe someone's watching for the first time. So for the ones that's watching for the first time, EOSTARTER is a community-powered incubator and gamified token launchpad, an NFT launchpad on EOS. So basically, what we do is we take projects early on, we vet them, we work with the teams, we interview them, and the selected ones that are looking to launch either a token or NFT project or both. The ones that are successfully vetted, they get all our support and marketing efforts and kind of technical overview. It's a lot of very similar to what also Helios is trying to do with the incubator program, but on a more kind of underground with the community level type of more guerrilla style type of incubation. And then we're doing a token launchpad, and we launch their token at a pre-sale format, so that users that are interested on getting into projects early on, they can do so on this platform before that token hits the market, or for example, before the NFTs are available on Atomic Hub. And so that's very interesting. And what we do to leverage and kind of build a loyal investor community is we have our own kind of Tartier NFTs, and we have this metaverse narrative as well with Master Tartar that is creating all this world of abundance and tasty cakes and tarts. And they're fighting against evil Dr. Fiat and his mini bankers that are trying to, leave us with scraps and get all the cake for themselves. So that's basically kind of the big story of it. And,
so it's a fairy tale.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the metaverse story that I think it's important to build around a launch of it, because we're all familiar, at least in crypto, with token sales, launchpad, NFTs. Okay, we get it. And now on the launch, specifically on the launchpad kind of scene, I've seen more of my fair share of the rocket launching and the moon tier and the golden tier and the silver tier and the platinum tier. And I know all the golden gems that divide the different tiers of investors. And what we can do here on EOSTARTER is kind of give it a brand new, refreshing experience about that, and give our tiers are based on the rarity of the Tartier that you're holding, right? That gives you a power up in your allocation. What we can do in EOS that is not very easy to do in other networks is that we can guarantee allocations for as low as like 1 EOS, and it still makes sense because of the low cost transactions of buying $5 of the token, which wouldn't make sense in a blockchain that costs you $70 to deposit those $5, because then you need to do an 8x on your money just to be, just justify that token sale.
So if I was creating an NFT set and I came to you, what criteria would you be looking for during the due diligence process?
Well, if you're doing only an NFT collection in a project, it's not something that EOSTARTER would be launching by itself. But if you're leveraging NFTs as a way of increasing adoption to a platform that you're building, if you have a broader narrative or a game you're building or something that is using those NFTs to engage a loyal community, and that, right, then that is something that we will of course help you launch. And we haven't announced it yet, but here it goes for the first time, and for Helios viewers, there's a project that we're announcing soon that is building sample and loops musical project. I won't say the name so that we reserve that for a surprise, but they're doing a drop with this kind of music style and DJs and loops, and that is going to be an NFT drop that is going to allow the holders to get a better access, a premium access to the platform, and getting more governance rights within the network. So I see that key use case for the NFTs as a very legit thing to launch as a part of a launch in EOSTARTER. But we're not going to launch the 10,000 PFP NFT cool cat thing of the future. It's not. We might, if that is if that is kind of part of the kind of growth and adoption phase of a project.
Cool.
Very cool.
So Hernan, we've got. I'm going to bring this back up here. Some of the previous NFT action. This is the premium EOSTARTER NFT. Chocolate.
Someone selling it for 600 EOS? Man, someone must be desperate. That was like, man, this is like this costed 10,000 EOS.
No, not 10. Wasn't it 1,000?
No. There was an auction, and this actually went for 500, and only 10. There are only 10 available. So there are other tartiers like the strawberry and apple and lemon. There are some that are still unsold, but the chocolate tart was the kind of it was the peak of the EOS market atomic hub sales like ever. You can see it on the chart. It looks like
he's a good looking tart.
Yeah,
he's gorgeous.
Got these little chocolate mustache, little hair furls. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I've got mine, and I'm not selling. So it costed me to get it. I was bidding on the first one, and then I got outbid. I had to settle for bint number 6 or something. So, yeah. And for people that are holding their tartiers and asking, okay, what can I do with it? It's coming. It takes time, and unfortunately, it takes much longer than what I thought we would be launching with. But that's tech, and what we're building, especially with the token sale contract, which is what we're leveraging Pomelo for. It's a very important kind of piece of technology as I view it in the ecosystem, right? Because with all the community is going to be depositing EOS there, and the projects are going to deposit a fair tranche of their token supply to the token sale. So those contracts, those token pools, are essentially going to be as long as the vesting period of those tokens, they're going to be essentially honeypots for both EOS and token sale and token project tokens. So it's very important that we have a super secure smart contract, and that's why what we're pushing for Pomelo on the season 2 is for a very thorough and professional security audit. That's kind of the next step that I want to get done professionally for the contract, because the first version of the smart contract is done. It's out there, and I want to invite by this medium also the community, because we have so bright minds in the community to give a hand, check out the smart contract, read it for yourselves, give us your reviews. If you're feeling up for it, make a pull request. We'll review it. If that's what open source is for. So yeah, we are definitely. You can go through both the contract and the platform. There's I can send you if you're sharing the screen, I can send you. Can you see my?
You can share your screen too if you want, Hernan. But I think so. Just for those who aren't aware, right? This is Pomelo, so it's pomelo.io, and this is Hernan's proposal right here. And you can see he's got 35 contributions so far. That the contributions, this is quadratic matching, so it uses a quadratic formula to figure out the matching amount. And so there's $888,888 of matching funds that have been put up from the ENF, and so this is where you can see that the matching. So of 35 contributors, 207 raised from them, but the matching, if it were to end today, is $25,000. So you can see how just a small amount of donations can yield a large amount in terms of the matching available.
Mm-hmm. And it's good to know. I'd like to also make note that because of the Pomelo grant and how the quadratic funding works, I've managed to get 2 Israeli friends that have been with me in crypto since 2017, and have never touched. They have of course sold and bought and whatever, but they never kind of got tokens out of Binance into a wallet, like other than Ethereum and Bitcoin. And for the first time, I drove them to create an account at Anchor and take their EOS out of Binance into the wallet. And I told you, man, just if you consider that I've helped you in somehow in your journey in crypto, just drop $10 or $15 there. It's almost nothing for you, but it's significant for EOSTARTER. And I've already done a couple or 3 of those. So it's pretty interesting what's happening on Pomelo.
So this is the link you sent me, Hernan. What want to talk about?
So that is a testing platform. Now on the back end, I would need to log in as Token Sale app, which is the admin, which is a token, the one that's deploying the contract. And I'd had to add you as a user. So do you have a Jungle Testnet user?
No, probably not.
So
but
maybe
you can share.
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can find that. Well, that's great. And there's
I can also we can also run. It's more technical and less friendly UI, but we can also run through the actions of the contract. That is public and for everyone. Or maybe I'll share my screen as a power user.
It's probably safer than me trying to fumble through it.
Okay, no worries.
And this, Hernan's the public good side of your Pomelo pitch.
Sorry?
Is this the public good side of your Pomelo pitch?
Yeah. So in order to qualify for being public goods, what we decided to do is we decided to open source our core technology. So essentially, the token sale contract, which is the core piece of our product, we decided to open source it and make it available for everyone. So ideally, anyone who wants to launch their token on a secure way and with a certain vesting for the users and with all the features that we have thought for, can essentially, they don't have to go through EOSTARTER. They can do it by themselves. I don't want to give anyone any ideas, but because we want to be attracting many projects. But essentially, that's what doing a public good is. So if someone wants to launch a token and for some reason they don't want to go through EOSTARTER, or they don't like me, they can launch their own.
Great.
You'll have the first mover advantage.
I'm building on it, and I'm also more than the first mover advantage. I'm building also with Pomelo on building a reputation, right? So what token launchpads mainly are a time saver for users and for investors that don't have the time, the mind space, or just the will of going through due diligence to projects and going through all the tokenomics, the mechanics, and is this good? Is this a rug pull? Is this a scam? Or is this team legit? So we're doing, what we're offering is doing all of that work on the background, getting, in front with the teams, doing personal meetings, coaching them all the way to the launch, vetting those teams, the viability of the business, the progress in technology, so that we can have, if this is a project launching on EOSTARTER, I know I don't have to spend so much time digging into it. Of course, you have to always do your own research, but if it's, my goal is to have some kind of, to build this brand that, if it's launching EOSTARTER, it's kind of a broader thing that the community wants to see happen. And eventually we're going to be now the kind of a single, the gatekeepers, if you will, of this token launchpad. But eventually I want to launch it into the world and have the TAR token holders be the ones that run the show and have this completely decentralized so that any project can submit. then there are incentive mechanisms in place with the TAR tokens so that people that are good at vetting projects and doing the due diligence, they can interview the project, do the tokenomics, study the thing, and get rewarded for that. And then it goes up for a vote. Then the community says, "Oh yeah, this project is legit. We want to launch it. This project is not." And then it all becomes kind of its own thing. And we're just now maybe just providing this kind of advisory and incubation services for projects.
Nice. Yeah, there's
That's kind of far vision. But if you want to get into the token project, I can share my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the bottom there should be a button you can see.
Yeah. So can you guys see my screen over here? I forgot it. I just did an interview with Jen Rios today, and I try to share my screen, and it turns out I have to open system preferences and allow the Brave browser to access my screen. And for that to happen, I need to log out and log in. And I had to reset this. I had all this time, but
maybe paint us a picture with words.
Yeah, so what we can do is, and this is more or less what I did also.
Chris, if we share yours at the same time.
Yeah, no, and
mine won't work because I don't have
Chris won't work because I cannot. He doesn't have right now a jungle tested user, but I sending you a second link. Okay.
Okay.
Then, if you open that link and you go to the contract page.
Okay, hold on. Let's bring it back up on the screen.
I can drive kind of people through the core of the contract. So if you go to contract, you'll see that we have basically 3 entities, which are the pool, which is a token pool that's where the tokens are going to be deposited and it's going to receive the EOS. We get a subscription where users say, "Hey, I want to participate in this token sale." And then they get approved and they get the allocation over there. And the user, which can be an investor type user, or it can be a project owner, which is the ones that sets up the pool, deposits the token, runs the token sale, and sets the parameters. So if you go to actions on the right, you see tables. And then if you go to actions, I can drive you through what the core of the contract does, right? So a project owner comes in. He has to be verified by us, which is the token sale app admin, and then he can add a pool, and he can set all the parameters: the name, what the tokens that are being that are going to be sold, the description for the project, who's the project owner, the parameters of the token. Then he can also set the price of the token that they're going to sell. They're going to establish the launch date, the end date, and then they're going to say how much of this are we going to vest immediately for the investors, like we're going to release right after the end of the sale, and how much of those tokens are going to be vested daily for a specific amount of days. So if you say 180 days, then that means that the rest of the tokens, if I write 50, which is 50%, and then 180, then on the investor immediate vesting and investor vesting days, that means that we would have 50% of the tokens released immediately after the end of the sale, and then 50% of the tokens vested on a daily basis. So every day you could come and claim the rest of your tokens, the ones that are available according to your allocation and the days that have transpired, which is super. I think it's a smart way to do it, because with most token sale platforms, what you have is like monthly vesting pools where there's one date that all the tokens get released to all the investors, and that creates kind of a type of a dump day scenario on the tokens. Whereas here, because it's daily, the chances of people synchronizing at a specific day to claim all the tokens at the same time is very low. So we're trying distributing the the dates where the user claimed their tokens and they're liquid in the market. Then add user is an action for the admin where I will add a. So when you cannot just log in and start depositing tokens, right? You sign in, you request to be verified, and then once we ideally when we have a KYC provider in place, or we find a very intelligent way of KYC, maybe through Port or something that, or Eden, or we have something that, but in one hand makes us compliant, and in the other hand allows us to prevent bot attacks, prevent fake users, prevent spamming on the token sales. Then you get verified either as an investor, which is like 1, or 2, which is a project owner. No, the other way around. I had to check the typecast, but anyway.
No problem.
So then when you get approved as a user, you can, as a project owner, you create the pool, you set all the parameters that we use, and then the admin, which in this case is going to be us, we have to approve the pool. And when the pool is approved, what we can do is, what the project needs to do is the project goes to a state of pending token deposit. So they need to deposit the exact amount of the tokens that they declared that they'd be selling in one transaction. And once that's done, the pool, the token pool is ready for sale, right? So then when the date comes, the admin, which in this case is us, comes and says, okay, start the sale, and the token sale becomes an active sale. That is when the user, which what the investor did was log in, then requests to subscribe to a pool. So if I'm a user in the system, I request to subscribe to this pool, and then on the back end, we're going to check out how many TAR tokens you have, how many TAR tiers, which are the TARs that you've been staking, and so forth. We calculate your allocation, and then you get an email or a notification that says, hey, you're approved to this sale. This is the amount of tokens that you can buy. So when the sale starts, you can go in and you say, okay, I want to deposit up to my relative EOS relative to the price according to my allocation, and then you can say contribute, and you make your contribution, right? So after you make your contribution, let's say a lot of users contributed and the end date comes, what the admin does is we do end sale. So they're kind of, yeah, exactly. So we end the sale, and automatically the tokens that were unsold go back to the project owner, along with the EOS that have been the percentage of the EOS that were determined to be immediately vested. The rest of the EOS remain in the contract available for daily vesting, and at the same time, the transaction goes out to all the investors of the pool with the immediately vested amount of tokens on their wallets. It's like automatically. So that's how the contract works. It's essentially on a bigger picture, it's pretty simple, right? We have a pool of tokens. People put their EOS, they get the tokens. That's kind of ABC style. But when you start getting into the nitty gritty, it gets more complex, because there are a lot of checks and balances that need to be in place. But that's a smart contract. We were the guys at EOS Costa Rica understood my kind of the system architecture, and they even proposed something that was very interesting that I didn't foresee at that time, which is not only investor token vesting, but also project vesting for the EOS. So a project can say, hey, listen, for legitimacy, to prove our commitment, we're only going to vest 50% of the EOS from that sale immediately, and we're going to have a daily vested allocation of a year or two for the rest of the EOS, so that you guys know that we're committed and we're not just taking all the EOS at once, which is interesting, right? It's a good feature.
That's awesome. So what we were looking at there, then, that was a lot to do with the previous Pomelo pitch, the funds received, and then you contracted with the EOS Costa Rica to
Yeah.
do the smart contract work.
That's everything to do, and then some. So the quote that I got for the full-fledged platform was way more than what we got for the season 1, like much more.
Mm-hmm.
But I was speaking to Edgar, and I say, hey, listen, everything's out there. You've seen what we got. Let's see how we can get at least an MVP of the smart contract for the matching pool that I got in season 1. So we worked at it. We stripped a lot of the complex features of the different types of vesting or different types of tokens that can be deposited, and we stripped it down to the MVP that you're seeing now. And we came to an agreement that yes, okay, for the budget that you got for the season 1, we can do this. And they not only did that, but they're also helping build this testing website, which is kind of it's kind of an added bonus, right? Because we agreed that basically a smart contract is what we're building, but they're also they're doing a platform that allows me to test without having to run a node in my computer and doing the whole Clios. And I did it in 2018 and 19, but I'm rusty in all this, running transactions manually. I'm not there anymore.
That's okay. Well, good choice of teams. EOS Costa Rica does a lot of great work and involve a lot of projects, so they're definitely a very competent, well-rounded team.
Yeah, they're great, and I think it's super important that we value the block producers that are constantly working in the ecosystem and adding value, and that they are front-facing, like EOS Costa Rica and like Generios that just interviewed me. And am I allowed or is not yet like public?
Helios's block producer?
Yeah,
it's public. Oh yeah. We announced it earlier this week.
Helios block producer. So it's a good opportunity to plug Helios block producer because first and foremost, right? I'm also part of the Helios team, and I've seen what's going on underground. And there's a lot of work being built to the build up for the block producer. And Helios is a front-facing block producer to the community, right? We're doing content, we're getting people in, we're talking, we're in all the discussions. That's important. Most of the top 21 are not front-facing block producers. They're producing blocks and claiming the rewards, and that's it. We only hear from Nation, Generios, a bit of some Asian block producers. EOS Rapid, like Carter, has been very active in the forums. That's kind of it, right? From the top list. So it's important that we get BPs that we, the community, are speaking to the top. So it's a good opportunity to plug the Helios block producer guys for anyone that's out there.
So you know what? Here, let me. I've been working on a bit of a review, digging into the block producers on EOS, and I'll share something that I've started working on, and just to give an idea of how it's.
So let's before we switch to the block producer and Helios, which I wanted for my end to just keep on that brain. I want to drive the point because sometimes I think I'm not driving the message home completely. Do you and I'll ask anyone here, Waxa, Chris, Robert, you tell me, can you mention one blockchain ecosystem, a smart contract platform that is on the top 100, that is successful, has an increasing market cap, an increasing adoption, that does not have a successful launchpad that is launching projects on it? Because I know Ethereum has hundreds. Solana has SolStarter and SolPad. ADA has CardStarter, AdaPad. Avalanche has Avalanche and others. Luna has TerraStarter, and this is it's we need something like EOSTARTER to work. If we want to attract projects and to attract people, to motivate them to get their EOS out and put them to work and try to contribute to early stage projects. That's it. we can move to the block producer.
It's a no. We can go back. We don't have to. We don't have to see if I've got the right screen. This is just interesting. We can definitely go back to other conversations, but I think this is just let me make that a little bigger. So in looking at the top, this is just EOS, so the paid positions. So for those who don't know, this is a snapshot I took 2 days ago, and or 3 days ago now. 228,000 EOS a day go to block producer rewards, which includes the paid actual top 21 plus the standby BPs. So 19,000 go to the top 21 per day. This is per day. And this is irrespective of EOS price. So when EOS is $10, it was similar. When EOS is $2, it's the same, which is kind of a problem, right?
That includes both block production rewards and voting reward pay.
All pay, yeah. Total BP reward, which is VPay and BPay, yeah. So 19,000 top 21, 9,600 to the standbys. So reviewing what's available on blocks, which is that's kind of like one of the main places that people go to sort of click the URL, the Twitter handle, like that's what's available on blocks. Of these, so right now 12,836 EOS a day go to the top 21 that have no website or have a website that has no English. And I'm not trying to say it doesn't. It's just a lot of the documentation, EOS was launched English. It was kind of understood that was the primary language. The EUA was all English focused. So anyway, they have website with no English or website.
There are also Chinese block. Chinese run blockchains that understand that most of the ecosystem speaks English, and we should. I think it's what the standard that Pamela has for doing English, Chinese, and Korean as 3 languages that are managed. I think it's basics.
Yeah. So, or they have websites with minimal or no info about their BP. So 12,000 EOS a day go to, and a bunch of them don't even have, no website. Crazy. 6,000 EOS go to the top 21 with moderate or lots of info about the EOS BP on their website. So like half as much essentially EOS is going to BPs that are actually kind of public facing. Of the total of all this 28,000, which includes top 21 and standbys, 4,600 EOS a day go to websites that don't work at all. They don't even resolve. No website. You can't reach them on a web. There's nothing. 8,700 EOS a day goes to a website that has 0 about the EOS BP. Like you can't find any link about an EOS BP. 3,000 a day goes to websites with no English or outdated content. A little over 3,000 with minimal content about the EOS BP. 3,000 with a website with moderate content about the BP, not a lot of detail. And then there's 5,600 EOS a day with basically lots of information. And what is lots of information? It's the JSON file, the disclosure, the ownership disclosure, their policies. That sort of was when the chain launched. That was like the bare minimum. You needed to have these basic criteria to sort of be considered. Of the social contacts that were available, 9,400 EOS a day are going to BPs with 0 Twitter account. So when you go to that block and you try to find these BPs, you want to talk to them, you want to be a community member and engage with the BP. They don't even have a Twitter. A lot of them, again, don't use Twitter. That's fine. We need to update blocks or some of these explorers then at least that provide the WeChat or the other means to contact them. Because right now, all the explorers that I'm finding don't offer anything other than Twitter links. 10,000, the Twitter's not active. EOS, 10,000 EOS a day, Twitter's not even active. 3,000 a day to Twitter is active, but 0 EOS promotion. And 6,000 EOS a day going to BPs that have an active Twitter and promote EOS. So it's pretty bizarre, right? Like that's, to me, that's and then if you look at sort of how it looks on a heat map, you can see these top 21, which are here up. Look how much red and orange are in the top 21 between Twitter and their website. And then as you go down,
that's the website, also social besides Twitter is the social interaction, the ongoing conversation. There's a lot going on in EOS. So there's a lot of work to do on governance for sure.
And all these ones, you can't even reach them. So these are a lot of what I think are probably sock puppets. No website, no social. Cannot contact this BP. Cannot contact any of these BPs.
That's a top 23 BP standby.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Trust staking doesn't even have their location. Like this one's funny. Trust staking, their website resolves to Binance. Which anybody can do. You could register your BP and pick any website you want. So it doesn't mean it's Binance's sock puppet. However, it certainly does look like it. So, and then as we scroll down and we get into the look, and here at the bottom now, a little more green, right? And those are all the ones that are, here's the unpaid list from here down, not paid. So it makes sense that some of them don't have everything you want to see, but a lot more green towards the bottom. And those are
I
the ones.
wouldn't be surprised if those top 22 and 23 and 24 BPs are strategically placed below the top 21, so that they are they're optimizing for claiming the rewards without having to spend resources on producing blocks. When you have enough tokens, voting power, you can do that, right? You can say, okay, this is what places you at the top 21. Okay, keep the voting of the sock puppets below that, and keep them claiming rewards all day, just not producing blocks. So it's like get the both worlds, not wasting energy, not wasting resources, and claiming all the juice.
Yeah, well, that's where I think Telos has done a good job. I bring it up lots. Some people don't seem to think it's a big deal. To me, it's a tested solution. They're running with their blockchain with it, and that is they rotate standby BPs every round. One standby gets rotated in randomly, and so that basically gives a chance to have these. And so then, of course, their CPU is not as good. Like, so you see, if you look at the comparative metrics, sometimes you say, "Oh, Telos, look, they're so slow." It's because they're rotating in standbys who maybe don't have top infra, but at least then you get to identify these leeches and you kick them. They dereg them, right? That's so
automatically
dereg.
Yeah. Today to almost $14 million a year.
What's that?
The amount that you mentioned, EOS, with EOS prices today, with EOS average at $3, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to be leaking out of the system into something that's not creating value.
Correct. Yeah. So we hear the narrative that EOS has been starved for capital. True. But part of that starvation is because the capital that was being provided to the BPs has been leached off in directions that were not supportive of the network and supportive of growth. So hence the My Vote EOS campaign, which is slowly been leaking out. And it's going to have a much more push soon. And that's a campaign to promote BPs who do not want to buy, sell, or trade their votes. And therefore, the reward they get as a BP, they get to keep and use as something to pay for infrastructure, services, product development, as opposed to right now, any BP in a paid position is pretty much forced to have to pay for those votes. So that means that the reward they get, they don't get to keep it. They get to keep the bare minimum just to keep the lights on. And so that's not healthy for ecosystem growth. And we've got the ENF now, and that's great, but fairly centralized, not ideal necessarily. It's good, but not ideal. And it'd be nice, in my opinion, it'd be nice to have the BPs have a little more ability to take their reward and actually do something with it versus being forced to have to pay for votes in order to be there. It's a tricky spot.
Yeah, no,
it's certainly not the system it was designed to be originally.
No.
So it's been captured. It's been manipulated. So it'd be good to get back.
It's been captured, and I have to be, if I be in all honesty, I knew that like projects trying to build on EOS were struggling, right? Like I've seen this. I've been I've been advising for Emanate and part of the community at Chintai and the DApp network with Liquid Apps and all those projects that came in, incredible projects building on EOS, right? And they were kind of, it was kind of a non-mentioned expectation that, all the capital that went into EOS would somehow find its way to helping build these companies. And they have really been, the muddy warriors of the crypto space. And I completely understand. And I think I didn't understand firsthand how hard it is to build a big successful project in crypto when building an EOS until I started EOSTARTER. So now I'm seeing that it's like anyone in here in the whole crypto scene would tell you, listen, it's a no-brainer. Just build what you're building in this or X or Y or Z super fast top 20 platform, and you'll get 2 million in your account. Because basically because you're legit and you're building something on the platform. It's So I think we can not go all the way there, but definitely make it easier for projects to build on EOS.
Yeah, well, Pamella's good for that. So that's one thing. The thing with Pamela, I'm starting to go through some of those things, and there's a bit of gamesmanship, I think, going on this season. A little more than I saw last season. A couple are blatant gamesmanship. There's one thing I won't name, but basically, there's an individual who submitted 2 separate pitches, and large donations to both of those pitches from the same 2 accounts, and the only thing they donated to was to these 2 pitches. So it looks a lot, and one of the accounts they made yesterday, or basically. So little shady on self-donating there to capture the matching grant. So, but the EOS Nation did a really good job. It looks like they spent a month after season 1 doing forensics. So I expect that they'll do a similar. It might even take them longer because I think they've gotten well over 100 submissions now. So a lot to tease through to try to basically kind of make sure that, because this is the problem, right? There's no true civil protection yet. There's this trust bonus that they're adding when you can provide your GitHub account, your Facebook, your Twitter, if you do the port scanning your passport, proving you're like a unique individual who has a unique passport. But it doesn't have something like Eden has, where we got to show up in a video to prove, hey, I'm a human, I'm not a bot. So that's true civil protection, where Pomelo doesn't quite have that yet. So it's I know the EOS Nation team is well aware of this, and they're, I'm sure, going to be doing their best to try to prevent having that gamed, because there's so much capital. 888 grand that's a lot of money, and if you get a bunch of accounts, you can
get $1 million, the matching pool, right?
No, the matching is only $888,888. They are topping it up. They're going to selectively pick after the season closes.
It's post.
Correct. So the 125K, they've also announced that they're going to, which I like that better. I wish my preference would have been less of the matching, more of the top up, because the top up gives them an opportunity to like objectively look at good projects, recognize whether they were gamed or not, and then give an additional top up to the projects that I think more subjectively, of course, but not objective as well, that they deserve that top up to complete what they needed to do for their project. Now, when it's majority matching, it's algorithmic, right? So there's no ability to intervene unless the forensics turn up that some scamming's going on.
Yeah, and I think I would even go have the ability to have post-mortem forensics that between the end of the season up to the point where projects can claim the projects, they can go back, see if maybe there are new methods of gaming the system, and the projects that game the system, get their matching pool removed, not the donations, but the matching pool removed, and matching pool gets redistributed retroactively according to the project's contributions, right?
That's what they did last season. So they didn't allow anyone to pull out the matching contribution until after the forensics were done, and then they rebalanced. So that's how they do that. The donation bit, they don't pull that if it's donated, because it goes straight to your account. So when you donate to Pomelo Pitch, immediately the recipient will get your donation, or it's 90% of it, I believe, go straight to your EOS account. You get that right away. It's the matching part that is held for post analysis, and then all released at once they're finished. So rebalanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nation's a good team. Sorry?
It's good to have our system and the data we build constantly tested for Sybil proofs, bot attacks, gaming of the system. Like there are a few. Our community is small, so there are a few very smart people that are aware of what's launching, what's happening, and they can program a script very fast and check out the faults of any system, and I think that's it sucks and it's kind of shady, but at the same time it's important, and I think it's good because it forces us to build more resilient and more cyber resistant system.
Yeah, exactly. Gav, welcome to the show. Traveling around in Mexico, you were?
Nice.
Oh, you're on.
Is that San Cristobal de las Casas?
It's back in the park again.
I want to see you on a swing next time.
No, not yet. Can't hear you yet.
Still muted. Yeah.
Okay.
So
oh, there you are.
Hi all. Yeah.
Hello.
What was that, Hernan?
Is that San Cristobal de las Casas?
No, it's not. But it's another casa. I've been listening into the conversation. Good stuff. Really interesting, Chris, about the block producers. That the amount of visibility, transparency that they don't have. That's pretty shocking. What you've already pulled together in that research.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't. It's FUD. People are gonna be like, you're FUD Neos, right? And it's like, I mean, what do you want to? I mean, this is like if you stick our head in the ground, okay, fine, or we try to just accept that this is something that could be improved. I mean, that's the way I'm trying to approach this. Is just room for improvement.
And I think we made that mistake as a community 2 years ago when the voices that were coming out against what's happening, something what was calling Tax Crypto, he left, obviously. But, we kind of were saying, no, God, it's all good. Just the price is going up, so don't miss it up for the bull run. And then that's what we're paying that price up till today, because instead of facing that problem, like face forward, we kind of kick that can down the road. And now, I think from the EOSIO ecosystem, I think we can only wish we would have started with a centralized vetting mechanism for BPs, like Wax did, or a very smart, harsh and blatant, arbitrary rules like Telos initially, but which turned out to be, very positive in the more longer run. And I think we need to learn from the other chains on how to build a strong, resilient block producer network.
Yeah, the psychology of a bag holder is a curious one.
Oh yes,
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. and there's been some really unique ways that different sister chains have addressed some of the inequity and issues within the block producer infrastructure. So it is interesting. It is definitely interesting. We look at some real world cases for how these things do work and don't work. A lot of examples.
So this is the challenge for having a launch pad for all of us. Hernan specifically, because he's leading the charge on having a viable launch pad, but it's a community-wide subject to have a viable ecosystem on which projects can successfully launch, so that we can bring in the external investors, whether it be crypto retail investors or larger institutional investors. That's the one thing that's continuously on my mind, is what does that ecosystem need to look like? And if there's some, we can't sweep things under the rug like Hernan you're suggesting there. We have to face it. What I'm still not savvy on within the community is, where do we get that visibility of these kind of issues, these tensions, these things that maybe have been swept under the rug? It looks like the ENF has done wonders with the recent blue papers. They seem to be getting good adoption and interest from the other chains. Chris, I don't know if there's anything that you can speak to with that regard for this call at the moment, but to me, it sounds like there's interest from other chains in the EOSIO community to support those developments of that core infrastructure. So needed.
Yeah. Well, the last call that that was publicly available to everyone was last Thursday. So these EOSIO Plus working groups. So this is like a 3-month ongoing thing. ENF kind of brought all these chains together, which is great. Which included some of the less obvious, like Bush. They run a private blockchain. Voice, so even B1 affiliates were basically participating in some of these conversations. And the last call on the 24th that I had watched, so 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's not for everybody, but I'm a junkie, so I've been watching all these. And it was like kind of basically 3 months of talk about how we're going to try to work together. And it was like that rubber meets the road type of call, where it's like, who's in, who's out, who's going to put up money, and who's just going to kind of not sure. And we need to put some money on the table here. ENF had proposed to put up 70% of the capital in this first sort of round, which is amazing. And they only wanted to have equal vote. So ENF kudos to them, willing to put up the lion's share of the capital and not take the lion's share of the voting weight, which you would kind of expect would be rational, but they really seem to be trying to encourage this collaborative effect. And at the time, Douglas Horn from Telos was very vocal about supportive. So awesome. Like EOS and Telos have had probably the most frictional relationship because they're the closest in terms of the market they're trying to serve. The origin story of Telos had a bit of a friction against they were like kind of the first similar to EOS chain to break off and do its own thing. So EOS OGs being what they are, the narrative Ethereum killer, our chain, we almost have like a Bitcoin maximalist approach to smart contracts, which doesn't really, I don't know, doesn't work well. And it obviously hasn't worked well in this example. EOS price has been the ultimate provider of truth there. So anyway, so they're coming together. Douglas and Telos seem to be really on board. So that's awesome. Sounded like UX Network, which we've had on the show, Darren and Guillaume from the UX team. They seem to be fairly supportive. Wax was on the fence, didn't seem too sure about them because a lot of their problems right now aren't so much around some of the directions that say Telos and EOS wanted to go in for getting work done. Wax has a major scaling issue. They're the most, if you look at transactions, they are the most used blockchain right now. So they haven't, like, they're running EOSIO to its limit. They need to work on scaling. One of the, what's awesome though is one of the solutions to that might be working with the UX team and that bridge, right? When we talked about how you can horizontally scale by using that trustless bridge to execute part of Wax's smart contracts on another chain like UX. I hope that relationship is still, I understand it is in fact progressing, and that would be a great solution for Wax. However, so Wax was there. They're like on the fence, it seemed. FIO seemed to be a little less certain how they were going to approach it. And same with Proton, also didn't seem necessarily super on board. So apparently there was a call that happened yesterday. Not really sure exactly, or can't speak to what the fallout is. I understand it's positive, and I think there'll be some news coming out shortly about, I believe, a relationship that might be actually formalizing and being actualized. So I think really good news. The teams, these chains are coming together. We're breaking down the silos and this idea of combating. And I think the narrative that we've talked about lots as Helios is we're EOSIO. We see this, like, let's make it EOSIO versus, the cryptos all want to fight with each other. Well, let's not fight amongst inter-EOSIO chains. Let's fight. If we're going to fight, let's fight with the Solanas and like these chains that don't perform, obviously,
that's what
right?
they're doing in Cosmos, right? In Cosmos, a lot of blockchains that are even above Cosmos and at the atom in terms of market capital, like Crypto.com, and they're also building on I think Luna is also building on the Cosmos.
Luna's on Cosmos. They use Tendermint as their consensus.
I haven't heard a single word of Cosmos being no, Atom is the thing and Luna is this offspring, and there's none of that, right? And it works beautifully. It's not a zero-sum game. So I would say the Proton, to the Proton guys that run the show, be a precious metal, don't be a cheap metal.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoever knows, no.
So it's good news. I mean, it's exciting. It's nice to know as Helios, we've been really pushing this narrative of unity, and squeak a wheel gets the grease, as my dad would like to say. So we'll just keep squeaking on that and hoping, and it's got to be rational, right? The other thing is some people don't buy into this. It's like, no, we need EOS because if we promote Telos, they're going to take some of EOS's market cap. It's like, man, that's the law of scarcity mindset is going to leave you with nothing. You got a law of abundance. Like, there is so much out there, so much value to still aggregate into crypto. Like, let's not infight about crumbs. Let's go after these big pieces of pie.
Yeah. And some another one of the next upcoming features is if we manage to get enough funds for the audit on Pomelo, and we get more funds, and most of it is going to go towards a bit, developing the ability of this token sale contract to be able to deposit Wax and Telos and Proton and the other EOSIO chains, and then subsequently to allow Wax projects and Telos projects and Proton projects to also deposit their Proton tokens and have, build an inter-liquidity pool of all the EOS.io token sales and token ecosystems. That's my larger vision for EOS Starter, right? To become this like EOS.io starter. But I do want to start by EOS because of the liquidity, and I also want to see EOS thrive. And yeah, I think we have a long way to go with EOS Starter. So any and all support given by the community is super appreciated. A lot of impact is being done even with one EOS. We're already, this thing only started, and I think we're already top sub 7 with most contributors. So thank you very much. I'm always super appreciative of how the community is excited about the project, and it's not like we're trying to shout out and give it a good word, but it's mainly a community that's showing us support. So thank you very much.
Yeah, this has been a different, there's a couple, when people looking, I'm going to share again to show just, I was doing some research today about the proposals that are doing well. And so this is by estimated match. So if the round were to end right now, which, I mean, it won't, 21 days still to go. So there's lots of time. But we have Pinker's Dream, which first time I've seen it. Interesting. Like, this is a curious one, right? There's no English translation. So I believe it's Chinese. So I can't participate in this because I have no idea what it is. But I did see there's a Twitter link. So if I click that, maybe that'll give me some information. And it brings me to
that matching pool. Definitely looks like a dream for Pinker.
Well, it's Pink the artist, so I don't know. That's not helped me either. So I don't know. I just think that's kind of funny. So they've got the lion's share. They've obviously got strong support from their community, which, hey, that's great. And then we've got Dungeon Masters, which is a Wombat. Wombat's a free wallet. They do all EOS.io. So this is great. We covered Dungeon Masters Season 2 on our EOS.io Top 5 Moments of the Week. If you don't watch that, please subscribe. We do that every week, covering all the top 5 EOS.io moments. The EOS support, awesome work. We know that, I mean, those guys are very well known in the ecosystem, headed up by Randall Rowland. So really great to see them there. And then we scroll down a bit. We got Anchor, right? Of course, Aaron and team from Greymass. Zeos, they had great support last year as well. And that's doing private transactions using ZK Snark and the DApp network to support EOS. Jenna Rios has got a great project, another great team. EOS Power Up, right? So there's lots here. And so estimated match, where is EOS Starter now? There you are. So you're down here, 35 contributions, but you can really see, right? 35 contributions leaves you with 25K and $207 donated. And if we go to the number one, it's not much more donated. It's only $577 donated, but because it's from 83 contributors, they're getting 145K. So this quadratic matching uses a quadratic formula, which is logarithmic. So you can really see it really ranks up.
Sort the projects by amount of contributors.
It lines up pretty close to what we just saw. That's the whole point, right? The matching lines up.
We're higher there on the list. You see?
Barely, yeah. It looks like you're, because of what Generios has received. So that's the difference. Is that they've got a little more money, not much more, right? A couple $100, and they're getting an extra 13 grand. So, a lot of great projects on here. We're going to go through it as Helios and try to make some recommendations and do some direct investments. Or not really investments in this case; it's donations. So that'll happen.
Another shout out to EOS Vision there. I just saw it on the radar. I already mentioned it, but this is run by Veronica, and she's a real trooper. She's helped us on EOS Starter and Helios she's there on the live stream, so she's there all the time.
She's all over the place. Yeah.
So this is her project. So guys, a shout out to her. If you're seeing this live stream, she has a great written and English understanding, but she's not very outspoken in English, mainly Spanish. So it's important to put a good word for her too. And she's proposing to do what she's been doing for most of us and pushing us forward, but for EOS. and I think she should also get some good contributions for her project.
And what I like about what she's done, there's a few projects there that are like talking about what they're going to do. We're going to do, especially like a few more promotional pitches there who are trying to do advertising for EOS. And a couple of them are like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. I love what Veronica's done. She just started doing it. So she's now doing a daily tweet. She shared our thing. So, I mean, of course, but she's doing a daily tweet like this, right? So these daily tweets that give you just top news from the day in EOS. So that, that's I like to see that. I like to see where it's, you're not waiting for the money to decide to do something. You're actually stepping up and doing it from day one. She does a lot. I mean, I can't even find the next one because she's so active on here. So yeah, I think that's, like you say, Hernan, that's a great project to support.
Awesome.
Lots of stuff. What else has been going on? See, we got the ETP. We didn't really talk much about that, but that EOS exchange traded product. So that's come out from Iconic Holdings and the Patrick Lowry and team. And, Brock.
What is it like actually available for investors in Europe?
No,
it's already there. Like people can
due to the way the regulations work
and buy EOS.
Yeah. So it's live. It's got a ticker. It's live. That's how it works, right? They can't give forward guidance as part of a very regulated industry that they're playing in, right? To release an exchange traded product or equivalent to an ETF, exchange traded fund in North America. So that's something they can't really shill in advance. So it's live. It's out there. It's in the wild. So good for them. That was encouraged by Brock's been talking about that a lot. So it's good to see that come to fruition. And then the thing is about it's not like the ETP itself should pump the price. It's not, but it provides an avenue, a vehicle where institutional investors can easily now acquire physical EOS. So when the news is good and there's some positive and there's this good news and reasons why an institutional investor would want to purchase some EOS, they've at least now got a way to do it. So now it's on us to start to come out with some compelling narratives and reasons and get the ear of these institutional investors so they start to acquire some EOS. That's what we want, right? We wanted the institutions to get involved and hold the token. Yeah.
No, definitely. This could be massive for EOS. There are very few projects that can count on that kind of support in the crypto space other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is major.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them that unfortunately, we're not the first to market. I mean, Solana's got there, and there's a bunch now of these ETPs that have been put out because the formula is kind of there where it can be done. But at least we're up there with the big boys, considering we're a top 50 token, which hurts my heart to say because we used to be a top 5. Well, I don't know. We're somewhere around there, aren't we?
Around the 50s.
We're
but there, roughly.
So anyway, guys, before I want to give a shout out to Yevin's project too. It's called. I sent you the link. If you can show it quickly, it's called NFT Game Stats. Yevin has been giving us a ton of support on the front end side of EOSTARTER. He's our front end developer, and he's trying to build kind of a data display for NFT projects on EOS and Wax. So he's already doing it. It's already kind of running, and he's he's contributed a lot to our project, and he's really forward. So it's important for me to give him a shout out. So guys, take a look at his project, and Yevin, if you're hearing us, you have to link to the website that you already are running so that people can to the actual thing.
Oh yeah, we can't. It's a good thing too that the Penguin team allows you to edit your proposal, so you can always make changes.
Yes, that's important. That's to be on chain.
Isn't that funny, right? So we were looking at, you had $207 and you were getting 23 or whatever K. So he's $49. So it's only a quarter, yet it's only $680 matching. Like it's because of the number of contributors. So it's a very interesting formula. It's all about the number of unique addresses that donate. So tell your friends, because really it's not about you showing up and throwing $100 at it. It's about you getting 100 of your friends to each throw $1 at it. That's how these things multiply and really benefit the teams. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, we've been going for an hour and 15. Not bad. for those who've been sticking around. Any last hot topics? You're out of coffee? You're drinking coffee this late at night? It's late for you, isn't it, Hernan? Well, afternoon or shade, not that bad.
I have
Or
like
if there's
seven,
any questions in the chat as well.
7 coffees a day, and since my baby is born, I've lost a bit of track of time, really, because I'm up at night, and I'm helping my wife, and he's right now 3-4 weeks, so that's the gassy stage, where
totally.
It's
The
he's
gassy stage.
learning to utilize his digestive system, so it's not like. It's much more complex than using the Anchor wallet. I assure you.
Yeah,
man. He's in pain and he's crying.
He's in the 4th trimester phase, the out of body development phase.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Wu, for participating and checking in. Appreciate your comment.
I think we should do some kind of Helios live stream NFT participation NFT for the participants, and give them some kind of recognition.
We'll just call them out.
Let's talk about it offline. But I'm willing to take that head on if you guys want.
But I've got something in mind at the moment, so I'll speak to you about it. And then
I will. Yeah, we can scratch it out, and I can do the minting and the airdropping and all.
Sounds good. You've seen a lot of artwork go out recently, so that might be associated with that.
Yeah, and then
Superman.
we cannot end the breakfast and blockchain without a shout out to the Helios incubator. I'm an alumni as well as a part of the team. So the incubator is driving a lot of good momentum for the projects. That a lot of them are new, but a lot of them were kind of they're hanging out and seeing thinking. What's going on in EOS and having second thoughts, and the Helios incubator is bringing a lot of new interest, new blood, and also new smarts to how the entrepreneurs in the space were going about their business. So super shout out to the incubator. If you're building on EOS or EOS.io for that matter, and you haven't applied for being part of the next wave of the Helios incubator, do it. I can assure you that having Gav look at your pitch and coach you through what an investor is looking at is next to it's the best thing next to digital gold.
Thanks.
We've got Wave 3 as well, haven't we, Gav? Available for applicants.
Wave 3 coming up is going to have a bit of a different format, but just in the past week, I've done a handful of interviews with participants on the Wave 1 incubator, so they're well progressed. I've spoken to Vlad from CETF. He's got a very good profit focus, early stage of development, early stage of project development, but he's already got a strong MVP that launched. So I've done an interview that will be coming out in due course. I've spoken with Garrett from Energy Ledger. To me, it seems like there might be massive profit potential in what Garrett is building. Not to go into the detail, but it's an ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning tool for carbon credits. And we know that this is becoming very high profile with governments for compliance. Companies are looking to offset the carbon they're doing. And Garrett has an astonishing solution built using EOS smart contracts. Rob at Facings, again, another incredible potential platform. I won't go into the details for now. We're already running well into time. And I've spoken to Nick as well, the Candor Weather Group, on weather sensors that depends on EOS cost efficiencies as a blockchain to collect weather data. And then he's got ways to monetize that with companies that are interested in that kind of data. So good interviews. They'll be coming out in due course as Waxer gets through the editing. Some of them need more editing than more, usually my fault rather than anyone else's. But I think they're very good interviews for everyone interested in how this ecosystem is developing to become profit focused, so we can bring in crypto retail investor interest and external institutional capital interest as well.
Well said. That's the big gap, right? We're talking about all this public good, free money stuff. Let's this money needs to become profit driven, self-sustaining. We don't need to be reliant on public good funding. Let's become self-reliant and independent and create proper businesses and business models that can propel themselves.
I really enjoyed your Lost Diamond interview, Gabriel. That came out 2 days ago as well. So if you haven't seen that yet and you're watching this, would recommend having a look at them. I can see them doing really well in the future. I think you highlighted a great use case of them, Gabriel.
Yeah, Lost Diamond is, I think it's one of the, to me personally, is one of the most exciting projects because it involves so many different things. It's gamifying, it's health related, health and fitness. It's fun for the family and friends. It's competitive. It's out there in the real world and building a very viable, again, the utility of the EOS ecosystem to allow transactions to happen at minimal cost so that these multiple transactions can happen. And it's a brilliant project. Definitely check out that interview. And there's more coming soon.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for those who have stuck by and watched. And Hernan, appreciate the time. Thanks for being on the live stream.
Thank you.
Gav, don't enjoy that sun too much. I'm envious as I still look out to see snow. It was snowing today in April, Canada.
We just started to get a bit of heat here in Israel. It was cold up to last week.
I'm not sympathetic because your cold is not my cold.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say.
Awesome. Okay, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week, same time, same place. And we'll have some links to catch Hernan and follow him on. He's really active on Twitter, all that action. So we'll be sure to share that, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.